We're now on Sefer Ha-Aggadah, page 24, and we continue the story of Abraham. So yesterday we spoke about the origins of Abraham and how he really is not mentioned in the Torah before the age of 75. Torah doesn't say anything about him. The rabbis added to his life story, they embellished the biblical story, and they said that he studied Torah from a young age, on his own, or was searching for God. And we presented the two different versions, that of the Midrash, that Abraham discovered God when he was 3 years old, and that of Maimonides that pushes it to the age of 40, because he cannot accept that someone at the age of 3 will already have this deep philosophical understanding. Now, the Midrash goes on to tell another story, again, not in the Torah, that has to do with the war that Abraham wages against idolatry, and that will lead in turn to Abraham being thrown into the furnace, in the Kivshan Ha'esh. But again, for that also we have no proof in the Torah, but I'll speak about it in a second. Yeah. In any case, we look at this story, and it speaks about Terah's workshop. Terah was Abraham's father. This is in the Torah, and his business was idols, statues. בית אביו של אברהם היו עושים צלמים ומוכרים בשוק. יום אחד הגיע לאברהם למכור, נתן לו תרח אביו קופות של אלוהות והושיבו בשוק. So Terah gives his son. This is a favorite story for all teachers, and it's a beautiful story by itself, even though it's not in the Torah. But the concept is beautiful. That in this version, Terah gives his son a basket full of statues and sent him to the marketplace to sell them. So one man comes and says, "Do you have any nice god to sell? For sale?" He says, "Which one do you want? What is your specialty?" He says, "Ani gibor, teni lo gibor kamuti." So the man said, I'm a powerful man. I want a powerful God." And so Abraham took the one that stood up, that was displayed at the highest shelf above all, and he says, "That's the most powerful one." So the man says, "How do you know this one is powerful?" Abraham says, "Don't you know that the one who stands above all is the most powerful?" So the man bought the statue, was about to go. אמר לו אברהם, בן כמה שנים אתה? אמר לו, בן 70 שנה אני. He says, "How old are you?" He says, "I'm 70 years old." אמר לו אברהם, אוי לו לאותו איש שהוא בן 70, ומשתחווה לזה שנעשה היום. He said, "Woe to that person who's 70 years old, and he bows down to an idol that was made today, like fresh out of the oven." מיד החזיר והשליך אותו האיש אלוה לאותו חופתו של אברהם, וחזר ונטל מאברהם את דמיו, ונסתלק לו. So he threw back the money, he threw back the idol, the statue into the basket, took the money and left. And he does the same with another woman. He says, "I want the poorest or the lowliest God," and he gives the lowliest God. And then he says, "How old are you?" In the same story. באותה שעה נטל אברהם את כל האלוהות והלך והביא אותם אצל תרח אביו. So Abraham takes the basket. He says, I'm not a good salesman. This is really, think about it. If a salesman is really honest, most probably wouldn't be able to sell anything unless the product is really good. So,
and this tells him the value of what he's saying, and so you leave the money.
Right. אמרו לו שאר בניו לתרח אביהם, אברהם זה אינו יכול למכור אלוהות, בואו ונעשינו כומר. Says since he cannot sell the idols, the statues themselves, let's make him a priest. Let's make him a religious servant. Abraham says, what is the role of the religious servant? אמרו לו עומד ומשמש לפני אלוהות, מקריב לפניהם, מאכילם ומשקם. The role of the priest is to serve the gods, to feed them, to give them drinks, to dress them. So Abraham goes into the sanctuary, whatever they have, and he starts talking to the idols, and he says, "Here, I brought you food, I brought you drink. Why don't you drink? So, enjoy, eat this, and then benefit us and be nice to us." they don't answer. So Avraham says the verse, Pe lahem velo yidaberu, einayim lahem velo yeru. That the pasuk will say in Tehillim. They have a mouth, but they don't talk. They have eyes, but they don't see. Ears, and they don't hear, etc. Then the woman came and brought a big bowl of food, solid, fine flour. So when she left, it was for the idols. When she left, he took a big stick and broke all the idols and stuck the stick, put it in the hand of the biggest statue of all, the only one that was left standing. And when his father comes over, of course, he's flabbergasted. All of the this is a different version. One version, he broke all the ones that he was supposed to sell. Here he serves the idols. So his father said, "What is going on here? What have you done?" Right? He sabotaged everything he had. He said, "No, you should know. Like this woman brought food, and when I put it in front of them, they started fighting. Who's going to eat first?" So this guy took the stick and broke all of the other. The most powerful guy broke all the rest. His father says, "Ma ata meshatebi kilum yicholim mehem." He says, "Are you talking? You think I'm a fool? They can't move." So Abraham says, "Yishme'u oznecha ma shepicha medaber." You should hear your own words. How can you worship them if they cannot move? So all this story, it's a very nice story, and could be, when you present it to people, you can make a lot of additions, make it interesting. And really, it's Hazal. The rabbis did not mean for us to take this story literally. They were talking about idolatry in general. They were also talking to the people of their generation, which saw enough idolatry in the Greek and Roman temples. They were really idol worshippers in the sense of not only idols in the temple, but also small statues that they had everywhere. So the rabbis are addressing these people. So try to understand when they say that the man asks, "Do you have a God who is like me? Yesh lecha Eloha kamoni?" This is really the core of the problem of idolatry, which we spoke about on Shabbat. Why is the Torah so concerned with idolatry? It's not because God is jealous of other idols that we are going to worship, but rather the problem is that idolatry allows people to follow their own desires and ideologies, even if they're destructive, but to do it under the pretext of religion. Meaning a person creates a god, an idol for himself, and then tells that God, "Tell me what to do." So now I'm doing it in the name of religion. It's your religion. You made it up. It's a made up, it's fake religion, and you are using it to promote your own ideology. Right? This is beautifully expressed in Yeshayahu. We read one of the Haftarot, chapter 44, where he describes how the craftsman chooses the best wood to make a sculpture, to make a statue. That he chooses the Yivhareu Etzlo Yirkav, one that cannot be rotten, and Vayametz Ashur ve'alon be'atzei. He chooses the oak tree from all the trees of the forest, and then what does he do? And he says, "Hetzio saraf b'mo esh al hetzio yitzle ve'achal basar ve'hetzio ya'aseh lepesel yizgod ve'yishtach olam." So half of this log of wood that he took from the forest, half of it is he sculpted into a statue, and he bows down to it, and he says, "Please answer my prayers," while the other half and all the chips are burning in the fireplace for him to warm up and to cook his food. So this is really the mockery. Yeshayahu 44. So it's beautiful nevuah there. But what Hachamim say here, a person looks for a God who is like him. Meaning this is where man makes God in his own image. So the God of a violent person will be a God who promotes violence. The God of a lustful person will be a God that promotes promiscuity. And this is how people do it. They're not doing it as their own will. They're doing it in the name of religion. So it's a very deep concept that Hachamim convey here. It's not just the joke of... and Avraham says how you want a powerful God? Here, take this one. The man says, how do you know this is the most powerful one? So simple. He stands above everyone else. And this is, again, allusion to what? To our ego. People who want to control others, push themselves upwards, stepping on others. And it's not because of divinity or religiosity. It's because of their own thirst for power. But then Abraham knocks sense back into that person by saying, how old are you? Meaning, look at what you are as a human being with all of your knowledge, all your experience. How can you really expect anyone to believe that you invest that statue with thought and knowledge? So meaning, he's not telling him that just superficially, don't bow to something which is lower than you, but rather be honest. It's not you're trying to escape responsibility to do whatever you want and put it on God. Instead, you have to assume responsibility. Then, when they ship Abraham to the graveyard shift, right, to work in the temple instead of being the marketer of religion, what does he do? He he now talks about the other concept of idolatry, the way people understand gods in general. This is one element, what I mentioned before, that people create fake gods and ask them to tell them what to do. But the other aspect of idolatry is that people think that they are bargaining with God or with the gods, giving them food and drinks in return for their services. So Abraham says, here, I'm giving you food to do something for me. Right? Trying to show people that doesn't work. It doesn't work that way. It's, again, your responsibility. And again, it's something that is written in the Torah, Nevi'im, Tuvim, over and over again. Most beautifully, probably in chapter 15, Tehillim, when David says, "Isfuli hasidai, koretei beriti alezava." He says, gather the pious ones, those who made covenant over a sacrifice. And he says, "Lo al olotecha, lo al zevahecha ochihecha, ve'olotecha lenegdi tamid." I'm not going to rebuke you about your sacrifices because I could see them all the time. He says, "Im er'av lo omar lach, ki li tevel umloa, lo ekach mi betecha par mi mechleotecha atudim." He says, you think that I'm hungry and I'm asking you to calm my hunger? God speaks to humans. He says, even if I were hungry, I would not turn to you. I would not take, I don't need to take a bull from your house or rams from your pens. Why? I control the whole. Be reasonable with this, be rational. It's not about feeding God. It's about, so the sacrifice is a different concept of showing that one has a certain commitment, but not that God needs that sacrifice. So all these very deep theological ideas are packaged for the masses. When the rabbis delivered these kind of derashot, this is the beauty of Midrash, where they take an idea that is a very deep theological, philosophical idea, which is that people create fake idols and project their own will and desires on them. And the other idea that the relationship between God and humans is not that of giving gifts and giving something in return, but rather spiritual growth, that where a person changes his own personality and takes responsibility. And they take those ideas and they package them in a beautiful way in this story that people take with them. And as a result, Rabbinic Judaism really was able to withstand the onslaught of Roman and Greek paganism, not only to withstand it, but even to turn that trend and to convert a lot of Greek and Roman noblemen to Judaism. So that is this part of the story. Second part of the story is that Nimrod, the rebellious king Mered, finds out about Abraham's war against idolatry and throws him into the furnace, Lekivshana Esh. Now, that is not written in the Torah. the only similar story that we have in the Tanakh is about Daniel. In the book of Daniel, we're about Daniel refusing to bow down to the idol that Nebuchadnezzar made in the valley of Dura, and as a punishment, he throws him into the fire with his three friends, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Also known, those are the Persian names, Babylonian names of Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. So, funny today, Daniel and Hananiah are both mentioned. So, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah with Daniel are thrown into the furnace, and nothing happens to them. The rabbis took this concept of the story and applied it to Avraham Avinu, but they based it on one word, Ur-Kasdim, exactly. The Torah says, Anochi, at a certain point, God talks to Avraham, and he tells him, Anochi Adonai Elohecha, Asher hotzeticha me'Ur-Kasdim. I took you out of Ur-Kasdim. Ur, in Aramaic, means fire. So the rabbis, Kasdim is the name of the ancient Babylonian kingdom.
In Arabic,
Nur in Arabic, Nur or Nar in Arabic, Ur in Aramaic. Then he came back into Hebrew, and we say Haga Urim, for example, for Hanukkah.
I wonder if it has also something to do with Kashidim. Like
No, it's Kasdim Mamash. Kesed. We read in the list of the right. Kesed, Hazo, Pildash, Idlaf. Those are the sons of between. But the Kasdim in English are called the Chaldeans for some reason. It's because Lamed and Samech were close together in the ancient language. So it's called Ur of the Chaldeans. So up until about 100 years ago, or 150 now. Wow. The concept of when you see the Torah says Ur Kasdim, the rabbis were able to say it speaks about a furnace that was set up in Bavel, but Kasdim really is not when Avraham was born. He was when we know that he grew up in Haran, which is closer to Turkey or Syria, not in Iraq. Kasdim are the Babylonians. So, based on this word that I am God who took you out of Ur, the rabbi said that he was thrown into the furnace. Now we know that there is a city, famous city called Ur. Ur. If you Google the word Ur or Ur of the Chaldeans, you'll see all the information about the excavations they made there. So it's clear that when Hashem says, I am God who took you out of Ur Kasdim, it refers to, I took you out of this land and brought you to Eretz Israel. Now the problem with this is that Hashem did not take Abraham out of Ur Kasdim. It says that Terah took his family, v'yetzeu me'Ur Kasdim, lalechet arza Kenaan. So, and it was in Haran when Hashem tells him, Aniuchi Hashem, asher hotzetucha me'Ur Kasdim. So this is really something that has all the commentators in a bind. They're trying to figure out what happened first. Some say he was born in Ur Kasdim, went to Haran, went back to Ur Kasdim, was thrown into the furnace, and then saved. There are different interpretations. I personally think that the simplest explanation that follows the text is this: Abraham was born in Ur Kasdim. It's the name of a city. It's not a furnace, right? He was born in Ur Kasdim. Ur Kasdim was a metropolis. It was really the center of the Chaldean culture, with idolatry, with all the things that are associated with that. Terah, at a certain point, feels that this is not the place for him, and he decides to move out of that, like I said, metropolis into a rural area, Canaan. On the way, he decides to sit in Haran and live there. But then Avraham himself, at a certain point, is being told by God to move on to Canaan. So technically, Avraham moves from Haran to Canaan. But when God talks to him about his journey, he says, I took you out of Ur. Either because... Right. Either Hashem gave his father the idea of moving from Ur, otherwise he wouldn't be able to break free of that culture, or that Terah himself really was a person who had some closeness to God.
Just letting him know that I was involved.
Exactly. I was involved in the process, which is in itself a beautiful insight, because it tells us that even things that we think we know from birth, go back to the generation before that. maybe those words there, נשמת משה בן זורה וחנניה, אמא רוח בן משה, אמא רוחני, אדוני, לעולם, אמן ואמן.